Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin UP demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. I'm so glad you could join me today. I have a holiday card for you, Christmas card, and I was challenged in my team to create any kind of a holiday card, and we've been messing around with that wonderful embossing evergreen forest and foils, and so I thought I would make another holiday card using that material but changing up the colors. So I've got a couple of examples today and we'll make one together. So let's just get started. Okay, here are the cards that I made, and this one is on Pool Party. And I like the way that one came out, but I thought it would also be kind of fun to mess around with a color. So I used some of our convertible ribbon. This one is Pretty Peacock on one side, and then an iridescent green, and I can't remember the color, but I'll put it up for the video for you, on the other side. And it is just beautiful ribbon. And I thought it added a nice finishing touch. I did my Merry Christmas on this one, and I embossed my Pretty Peacock ink. And on this one I used the Merry Christmas from the Poinsettia stamp set. On this one I have this trim. On this one I put Hoping This Season Builds Heartwarming Memories, and we could easily add a piece of this pretty ribbon to the inside of this one. We'll just have to see what feels good at the time. Kind of favor that because it brings a little bit more of that Pretty Peacock to the inside. In any case, this is the one we're going to make today. This one is very simple. It's very similar to one of those Christmas cards I made, in that it's got this little strip of the brass paper along the bottom, and the dimensions of the top pieces are exactly the same. It's just what you put down here and on the inside that is the difference. But I kind of like the red, and this is going to be my swap for this month. So this is what you need. I use a base of real red, and I wanted to go for color intensity and contrast. So real red really did the trick for me. Then I used my Evergreen Forest embossing folder and a piece of brass foil that is 3 3/4 square. And then this piece behind this is 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. So I just gave a little bit more of a border on this. There we go. So just like that. So in fact, these two we can go ahead and put together. And so I'm going to use a little bit of my seal here to adhere these two together. Now, because this one is embossed, I'm probably going to add a little bit more seal than I might otherwise, because I want it to lay down nice and flat. And you can see that it curls a little bit when you run it through the embossing folder. So here we go, set like that. Now it's got plenty of adhesive. And I showed you this trick the other day, that sometimes you get, a little bit of adhesive, or it's got a little mar on it, and I keep a little bit of alcohol on my desk, and alcohol and a Kleenex or a baby wipe going over the brass absolutely cleans it up and gets rid of any of those little marks that are there and leaves you with a pristine piece of cardstock. So there you go. Now this piece, because it has the embossing and I'm putting a few other embellishments, I just laid this one down flat on the card. on the card front. So I'll just add a little bit of seal here to the back of my card and put that into place right up here. And this is leaving very little margin, kind of because this piece is 4 1/8 squared, and this is 4 1/2, so it's, or 4 1/4, so there's very little margin left there. All right. And then my piece of ribbon, and this one I'm not going to tuck around. I wasn't crazy about that. So I'm going to put some seal right down here on the bottom of this, and then I'm going to place this across the bottom. And this has two sides. This one, which is a shinier, lighter green, and then this one, which is the pretty peacock with that other color green along the edges. And I want the peacock to show here. So I'm going to set that in place right along here. And then I'm just going to trim that to fit right to the end of the card. Now I didn't get my seal all the way to the end, and that's kind of an uneven bottom there. So what I'm going to do is add a glue dot to the outside edges of this for my ribbon. Going to just lay a glue dot down there, and that should hold that in place just fine. If you're worried about it at all, you can certainly wrap that around this piece before you put it down on the card. And in fact, that is what I did, and it might be a good idea because this is fraying a little bit. There we go. On this one, is I wrapped it around the outside of this pretty peacock base piece. All right, so I am using the stamps here today from the Snowman season. I'm using the Merry Christmas and Hoping This Season Builds Heartwarming Memories for the inside. Now, on this one, for my Merry Christmas, I've got my pretty peacock ink here, and I've got my clear embossing powder ready to go. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy along the bottom here to clear that off. Then I'm going to get this ready to go. The trick with this is getting the clear embossing powder on this while the ink is still damp. So I'm going to put my Merry Christmas way over to this side. And move that straight over to here where I've got some embossing powder ready to go. And there we go. And I've got my clear embossing powder on my message, and I will quiet the video while I heat set those words. Okay, but what do you need?
I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Okay, so I love embossing in the colors because I think it makes it kind of interesting and a little bit different. And in fact, I'm thinking on this one, on the inside, what I'm going to do is I've got my pretty peacock base that is cut 4 by 5 1/4, and my white piece, Whisper White, that is 3 3/4 by 5. And I think I'm going to emboss this one as well. So again, use my anti-static tool here, and then grab my message, which is Hoping This Season Builds Heartwarming Memories. And let's see, I don't have my Pierce mat handy, so I'm going to put these two down here on my silicone mat. I've got 3 or 4 layers here. This should be just fine. So get this down here. Do it right side up. That would be good. And put that down here and get this all ready to go. Oops, I've got an ink spot on that. I'll have to get rid of that. And there I've got my clear embossing powder on my message. And my brush to just make sure everything else is gone, and then I'll heat set this message as well. Now there is my pretty embossed message for the inside, and I'm going to go off camera and use my sand eraser and get rid of a couple of these pieces of ink that I've got on my card. There is my card all cleaned up, and I'm just going to go ahead and add some seal to the back of this, and then check and see. I'll just bring back my silicone mat here to lay this down and see if we would like to have a little bit of that ribbon on this before that goes onto the card. I think we can go ahead and adhere this to this. There we go. And then decide whether or not we want some ribbon on the inside of this card along this end here. And I do like the way that looks. I'm going to use a little longer piece of it though. There we go, just like that. So I'm going to add some seal to the back of the card so that I can anchor my ribbon. And let's see, I think I want that right about there. Oops, wrong side of the ribbon, of course. Be too easy any other way. Okay, there we go, like that. And then I'm going to add just a tiny little dash of dot runner because this ribbon glue doesn't stick to it very well. So if I put a little dash of dot runner there, it seems to stick to the paper and then it can stick to the ribbon, but it doesn't stick to the ribbon necessarily. So across here, and then snip off this end, and there we are ready to have this go on the inside of the card. So I'll add a bit more seal. I just got my paper pumpkin in the mail, so my next video on Friday this week will be my paper pumpkin alternatives. It is meant to make a bunch of treats, but if you follow me, you know I never make what it suggests, and I only make full-size cards out of my paper pumpkin. So that will be a fun challenge. And here we go. Isn't that pretty? I love this color combination. I think it's really pretty and attractive. Now, what I did was I used some more of my colored pearls, and I put a large one down here and 3 little ones up in the upper part here. And I like the little ones on the upper part, like here, here, and then I think I ended up putting one kind of up here. And then I have to make my bow. And this one, because you have 2 sides on the ribbon, you have to be very careful how you make your bow. You make your first loop, here the way you want your ribbon to show on your card. Then you wrap this around the back the way you would ordinarily, except now if you come through, you've got the other side. So when it's back here, you have to twist it so that it comes through on the same color as the other loop. Then you can start pulling those together, and voila, magically, you end up with the right color ribbon on both sides. And then it just takes a little bit of the twisting of the ribbon to make sure that you have it set up the way you want. And there we have all of our right sides showing. Snip off our tails here, and then I put this ribbon sort of on the side here, going across and framing my Merry Christmas message. And I did that with glue dots. And on the glue dots on this kind of a ribbon, I'm going to turn my ribbon over, and I want 3 glue dots on this. I want a pretty good size glue dot on my knot, and then, oops, it wants to stick to me instead of the ribbon. And then a glue dot on this side, and then one more on the other side. Here, people have taken to using that tear and tape down, but I find that the glue dots work for the most part pretty well for me. If I had a very big piece of ribbon, then I might do that strip, and it's whatever makes you the most comfortable in putting your card together. So there we go. Well, that glue dot got away from me and stuck on me instead of on the ribbon. I'll put that back in place, and there we've got our ribbon secured on the card. And now what to do about this embellishment? I wasn't crazy about this. I think it's too big. So maybe what I'll do is put, let's see what one little one looks like, right down here. I think that's sufficient. Okay, so there we go. That is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I'll bring back this one so you can see it as well. I do so appreciate your stopping by. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. In September, there's a great join offer. That is your normal $125 worth of product for $99. And then you get 2 extra stamp sets, the Queen Anne's lace and another one. I'll put it on the video page for you. And a package of rhinestones and all of the card material you need to make 16 cards. So it's a pretty good deal. I figure it's worth about $180 worth of material for your $99, which is pretty darn good. And my telephone number is always listed below the video. Be happy to talk to you about this or anything else to do stamping. So give me a holler if you've a mind to, and I'll be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye!